What's going on, my good people? Mike Hidalgo here. Thank you for joining us on another FCP Euro DIY. Today, we're going to be working on a 2006 Porsche Cayman 987.1. Today on the Cayman behind me, we're going to be covering how to do an engine oil service. This is a pretty simple DIY and a great first time DIY for those of you just starting to wrench on your Cayman. This will be pretty similar to your 996 dot one as well, just everything's kind of in the flip. The dot one behind us is going to be using this Liqui-Moly oil change kit that's in front of us. That includes 8 liters of 5W40. We have a new Mala filter, which also includes a new O-ring, crush washer, and a drain plug, which is also included in the kit. We recommend you do this service every 5,000 miles, and with our lifetime replacement guarantee, it makes life just a little bit easier. But before we get started on this DIY, let's take a look at some of the tools we're going to need for this job. For this job, you're going to need a torque wrench, something that can handle up to 60 Newton meters. Not that we're going to need all of that, but you get the idea. This is a 3/8 drive one. We have a small pick, a small flathead screwdriver will work as well. We have our oil filter wrench. This is CTA 9180, also available on fcpo.com. We have a 3/8 drive ratchet, your preferred oil funnel. We have a small 3-inch extension. This is just so we get a little bit of distance between the engine and our knuckles. And we have an 8mm hex. That's going to be for our drain plug. And of course, not pictured here, but always needed for any fluid job is a catch pan. Now with that, let's go ahead and get started on this DIY. All right, my good people, we are in the trunk of the 987. The first thing we're going to do is open up our oil fill cap just to allow the vehicle to breathe while we drain the oil. We ran it for about 15 minutes. It has been in the shop for the last 2 days, so we let it warm up for a bit so that the oil is nice and thin when it comes out. With that, be mindful that things are going to be hot. You don't want to burn yourself. Classic 987. You know the drill, my good people. Let's go ahead and remove our cap. And now with that, we can head underneath the Cayman to start draining our oil. All right, my good people, we are under the Cayman. We have our oil filter right here inside the oil filter housing, and we have our 8mm drain plug. We're going to start with draining the oil first. We have our catch pan set up beneath. This is where our 8mm hex is going to come into play. You want to make sure that this is situated all the way in as best as possible. If you need to, give it a couple love taps. Now we're going to go ahead and crack our drain plug free. We have our catch pan set up underneath. And remember, our kit comes with a new one, so all we have to make sure is that our old crush washer comes out, and we'll be good to rock and roll. All right, now that our oil is almost done draining, or just coming down to a steady stream, we're going to go ahead and crack the oil filter housing open as well. And for that, we have our CTA tool. Get that nice and snug. Just be prepared for oil in there as well. That's going to want to drip out. And then this old oil filter just pulls down. And we'll give everything a few minutes to drain, and then we'll pick it back up with the install. While we let the oil continue draining, my good people, now is a great time to swap out the O-ring on our oil filter housing here. Using a small pick, we're just going to pop out this old green O-ring. Use a small flathead screwdriver as well. And you'll see on the oil filter housing there is a small notch. This is going to be specifically for the seal. You don't want it on the threaded portion. You don't want it passed on the bottom here up against the lip of the cap. There's a small notch here. That's where that seal is going to go. So we're going to go ahead and get that started. We use some of the oil that's still on the threads to lube that up. And now that housing is ready for install. So with that, we're going to clean up our block a little bit, get our new filter and drain plug in so we can fill it back up with oil. All right, my good people, while we let the little bit left of oil drain out, we're going to go ahead and install our oil filter back in. So it doesn't matter which end you install the filter, it goes on either way. I like to leave the lettering down towards the bottom. We're just going to feed that over the housing here, pop that up, and it stays in place. We already have our new O-ring on our housing here, and it's got a little bit of oil on the O-ring, so we can go ahead and feed this up. This gets torqued to 25 Newton meters, so not a whole lot, so be sure not to over tighten it. We have our torque wrench out, so we might as well torque it properly. But you can pretty much get it all the way just nice and hand tight. All right, we have our torque wrench set to stun, 25. And we'll go ahead and snug it down. There we go. Sometimes these caps can get a little bit stuck to your housing. We'll give that a few more minutes to finish draining. It still has a pretty steady stream, and then we'll install our drain plug. All right, my good people, at this point, we're gonna install our drain plug. Otherwise, we'll be here for 5 days. And we'll just go ahead and get that started by hand. We have our new crush washer on here as well. Before I seat that all the way in, however, I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a spritz of brake clean. Let's give it a little bit of a wipe here. And we're gonna go ahead and snug this up. Again, 8mm hex. Then we're gonna torque it down to 50 Newton meters. You definitely want to torque these. These are notorious for leaking if you don't tighten them properly. And you also want to torque it gently, or you want to torque it so you're not gentle, and then strip out the bottom of your oil pan. All right, we have it set to 50, all the way in. There we go. All right. Now with everything buttoned up under here, we can head back up top and fill this engine with some oil. I just have a pig mat here in case I spill and make a mess. I'm a bit clumsy. The engine capacity is 7.76 liters. Now, between you and I, this will probably use up the other 0.24 if we put all 8 liters in. But kidding aside, 7.7576 liters if you want to be exact. We have our funnel. We're going to go ahead and get that in place. And then we're just going to start to fill it with oil. Don't forget that your liquid moly bottle has a interval sticker on it. You can peel this off and put it on the corner of your windshield or your logbook, whatever you prefer, so you know next time to change your oil. All right, for our last bottle, we're gonna leave, again, just about 0.24, 0.25 of the jug here. We can always top it off later if need be. No reason to really overfill it. So just keep that in mind, 7.76 liters. All right, my good people, with that, we're gonna very carefully take our oil funnel out. We have our pig mat here situated. We're gonna use this as a ride for this oil funnel out of here. Now we can take our oil cap, reinstall that. Maybe find some glue for this good old trim. Let me know in the comments below if yours is also busted. But otherwise, that is going to conclude this DIY for today. Overall, a really straightforward and easy job on the 987. Certainly a good driveway job or garage job. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any other questions or comments on what we did today, leave those in the comment section below. And if you like this video and you want to see more like them, please consider subscribing. We make new ones all the time. As always, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.